Well, here's a new career opportunity, and I knew no one's doing it yet, and they're hiring people to do this work. And it looks like it doesn't take a whole lot of credentials, and they're going to train you, and you make $5,000 to $6,000 a month, and it's not really forever, but I guess it can be. Now, this is a report that just came out of the Connecticut. State Department of Labor to train for people to be, listen to this, disaster relief. That's right. So, a disaster relief worker. I mean, here's the partnership with the Department of Labor and the Workforce Investment Board received a COVID-19 disaster relief worker grant from the U.S. Department of Labor. Okay, so that means they have money to pay you. You're going to get grant money from the government to be paid to be a disaster relief worker. The grant available through March 2022. So that's a whole year out there. Well, half a year, whatever it is. Will provide funding to certain employers to hire disaster relief workers. Okay, so that means somebody's going to get money from the government to pay your salary to be a disaster relief workers. Okay, the program covers wages and fringe benefits up to 30% of wages, up to 40 hours a week, and an average of 3 to 6 months. And PPP expenses. So all this gear you need to be a disaster relief expert is there. Now, here's the kind of stuff you do. I mean, it doesn't seem like high level. You don't need a PhD in this stuff. Cleaning, sanitizing, and disinfecting public facilities, delivering medicine, food, and other supplies to vulnerable population. Well, I think most of us can do that. Healthcare support jobs, sort of such as CNA, that's an assistant to healthcare, home health aide, pharmacy tech, mental health worker, dietary aide, and others. Okay, so you have all these occupations. So you're working as a caregiver, man. So you know this stuff, right? So you could do that. Where the new hires come from? Referrals come from the employer, or we may be able to refer screen candidates to you. Okay, now. Does every new hire qualify? No. Potential hires must first qualify for and be enrolled in the Disaster Relief Employment and Training Grant Program. Eligible participants must be dislocated workers, workers who are unemployed or underemployed and collecting or recently exhausted unemployment. So you're unemployed, recently employed, or underemployed. That means not working under the table, but just not good enough, for what you're doing. Like you're employed, but you're not making enough, or whatever. So that's what it. Screening will be done by the American Job Center. That's the Career One Stop people. So that's the government again. And will include an assessment of participants' work readiness skills, occupational skills. Staff will determine those who have transferable skills that will allow them to be effectively perform an available disaster relief job, and those that will require work readiness or occupational skills training before the job. So that means, hey, you don't have to have any training. They're going to train you first to get the job. So this is what it looks like. Government has a lot of money. They want to give it to organizations and businesses and everything to hire, disaster relief workers that the government will pay for, okay, and will train and get you a job. And these jobs, I mean, I don't know exactly, but I just look under disaster relief worker salaries, and it's really $5,000 to $6,000 a month. So that's big money. Safety training provided. So more training that you get help. Do I need to retain the employer after the grant period expires? No. So it's a job until March 2022. Right. So how do I receive you submit a monthly invoices and proof of payroll. so that's why you can go to people, find people need the disaster relief and say, hey, I could get you a grant to pay me and to train me to be, and nobody's trained for that. See, so you can't put an ad in the paper for disaster relief people. There's probably 4 around. Actually, a friend of ours is a young guy looking for work in New York in Broadway, being shows and help with the back end of stage work. And he's a disaster. They just make him the disaster relief expert. So he's just a year or two old college. He doesn't know anything about disaster relief, except maybe creating one. Who knows? So that's the opportunities that are out there. And see, what's neat about new stuff. I got in the computer business back in the early 70s where people didn't even know how to spell computers. And I became a professor with just a bachelor's degree, not even in computers. And I was taking a computer course at one college and teaching it at another college. That's what happens in new things. A disaster relief expert, 6 months from now, you'll need a PhD from it. Now you need nothing, just a smile. So find out about it. Go to your Career One Stop Center. I'll put a link in the bottom for that, and a link to this report so you can see it and to see all the jargon that I talked about. So you know what you're talking about, okay? There's an opportunity, and it's going to go by quickly.